Righto, so it's award season. You need to put a nomination in, but you find it really hard to sell yourself on paper. And that whole notion of drawing out the gold about what makes you special compared to the rest of your industry or shining a light on your achievements is something that is just not your forte. But it's actually essential if you're going to win any prestigious industry award, because the judges don't actually come into your business and observe you day to day. They need the written words to tell them who is the cream of the crop. There's kind of no better way to show clients and prospective clients that you are better than your competitors than through winning industry awards. And it can be a really fantastic way to build your authority and your credibility and act as a bit of a marketing strategy to build your reputation and even potentially secure new clients through the praise and the exposure that comes from winning those awards. But writing the actual submission is a bit of an art form, and there are 10 really common mistakes that I see, A, as a writer and an editor, and B, as someone who's sat on quite a few panels in the finance and real estate industry adjudicating these awards. The first thing is just actually not reading the guidelines. They're comparing apples and apples, but they've got very clear benchmarks and they are the guidelines. So you have to almost use their own phraseology back at them when you're responding, understanding the criteria and the requirements of the award and not glossing over any of those, even if you think, I don't really know what this means. The second thing is not tailoring the submission to the award. So if you don't understand any of the criteria or the requirements and you think, I don't quite meet that, it might be worth not applying for that particular award, or calling up the people that are hosting the awards and saying to them, can you just clarify this for me? Am I eligible if I have this? Third thing is not providing sufficient evidence. Even as a writer, I know that words aren't enough. You need numbers, you need case studies, you need testimonials, you need proof, you need graphs, anything you can use that provides a third dimension to what you are stating, the claims that you are making, to provide some concrete evidence of what you're able to achieve and what you have achieved and why you deserve to win the award is always really helpful. Fourth is not proofreading. Often you can get so hung up in writing the narrative about yourself and you get really familiar with what you think you've written that you don't see the typos and the errors and you haven't checked for the overall flow of the award. It's got to be easy to read. Sometimes there's 80 applications or nominations for one award. They get really bored really quickly, so the writing has to be quite enjoyable. Not being concise is my fifth point, and that's where you become quite rambly and ineffective and you're not getting to the point, you're not stating in the first sentence how you meet the criteria. It's all about throwing the punch really directly, really quickly and hitting the target, and then using the rest of the paragraph or the word count that you have to back up what you've said in the first sentence. Number 6 is not providing context, and this is a massive one. It's where we fail to provide an example of where the difference lies. So we're expecting the judges to just know that what we've done is exemplary, or that what we achieved for this client was 50% over the industry average. And that often takes a bit of research to work out what the benchmark is, what is the context upon which you have outperformed. Number 7 is quite similar, and that is not highlighting the impact of your work, showing exactly how you made a difference, how it is better than what ordinarily happens in the field or the industry. So the impact of your work is an absolutely essential element of every response that you create inside your award submissions. Number 8 is not getting feedback. Sometimes we kind of get wrapped up, we've read it 12 times, we think it's looking pretty good and we just want to get rid of the damn submission. But actually getting a mentor and a colleague and an editor to review it all is quite important. And the most common feedback you'll get is quick typos, obviously, and just a general polish, but also that you're not getting to the point quickly enough and stating blankly and in black and white what you're trying to respond to the criteria with, and that maybe you haven't given enough context or evidence, that there is too much of a presumption of knowledge on the behalf of the judges, and getting a really strong application relies on ticking all of those boxes. Good proofing, good flow, good evidence, good context. Number 9 is not following the format. If they say do this in dot points, do it in dot points. If they say give us one sentence, why? If they say use 7 words to explain, if they say give us 400 words, including a case study, deliver precisely what the judges and the organisation have asked for. And number 10 is a killer. It is not submitting on time. These guys are usually pretty stringent about their adherence to the deadline being the deadline, particularly if they get a lot of nominations. If they're weak on nominations, they might bend the rules a little. But the really common and heartbreaking thing that I see happen is people go and spend the 10 hours writing it, they give it a few days to polish it and look back over their submission, and then they don't get it in on time. It gets stuck with someone else. They haven't got the last piece of a case study they need or the testimonial, and it doesn't happen. So having a really good timeline, months in advance or weeks in advance, is a really good way to do this. Or you can just outsource it to someone who does this all the time. Look, writing an award submission can be a really daunting and challenging task. It can be very time consuming too, but by following those 10 tips, you put yourself in a better position to send through a strong and hopefully successful submission.